Hello, this is I Do Damage, and welcome back to the channel. In this Crumbling World video, I want to talk about this indie game that I've stumbled across and that I want to share with you. This game will be coming out on Steam Early Access on May 21st with a price tag of $14.99. When it first comes out, there will be a sale attached to it within the price range of $10. Also, this game currently does have a playable demo for free on Steam. The link will be down in the description below for you. The game will ship with 7 different characters that you can play across 5 different classes. So you have your archer, mage, rogue, generic types of classes that you would find in any ARPG. In the demo currently, there's only one playable class, and that is the warrior. So what is Crumbling World? It is an indie game developed by a solo developer. One of my favorite types of games. You can just feel the passion and love for the project. And I just want to talk about this game and tell you, what is it? Is it something you should keep your eye on or consider picking up at launch? Crumbling World describes itself as a, quote, procedural, atmospheric, dark fantasy, action RPG, and I would say it definitely fits those shoes. Let's talk about how well, though, right? So let's take a step back, and the way that the world and the game really plays out is, as you can guess from the name, the world is crumbling around you. It kind of does give you a sense of time to kind of hurry along while this world's crumbling. Now there's 25 different procedurally generated levels. They are entirely randomized layouts for the most part. And the way it's going to work is you have these random tiles that I just mentioned, and then also for each stage I call them white tiles, or you could call them story tiles, but they're going to be tiles that are always going to be there that you can progress the quest line and the story of the game. These tiles do not disappear. So the way that it works out is you're running through the map, and you can see on your mini-map the tiles are ticking red, and that means that they're going to be disappearing and going away. So you need to hurry up and move on to the next. You can also kill monsters to get these yellow orbs that will give you more time for the Underworld that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But while you're going through, you're fighting these monsters, and also make sure you're breaking open barrels. You can find consumables and different items in there. Health potions, trinkets that do different things for your stats, give you more attack, maybe less health. It's kind of a trade-off that you have to decide. While we're talking about levels, I've kind of explained the overworld and the disappearing tiles and how they're dropping down, and then the story tile. If you happen to fall off the map, which is going to happen, and you might even want to do it as part of the strategy of the game, is you fall down into this lava level called the Underworld. And what happens down here is you fight monsters, and you're searching for one of two things. If you have a lot of time, you can go out and explore and find some very rewarding treasures that I will not spoil for you. Or you can go ahead and search for the gates, get back up to the overworld, and continue on your adventure. Now, there's one thing that I do want to note here, and I didn't know what this was until I was streaming it and I had the developer in chat. But when you come back from the overworld and you spawn in the overworld, there's a chance that you're going to spawn on these dead tiles. And what I mean by that is there's nowhere to go, it's a dead end, and you're just basically landlocked. What you have to do is wait until either you spawn up until a tile that connects to the story tile that we talked about, or wait for all of the timed tiles that are disappearing to fully crumble, and the only tile that's left then is your story tile, so that when you port out, you're forced to spawn there, and then you can progress on the story. So it might sound a little bit weird, but you can kind of maybe tell in the gameplay in the background of what I'm talking about. And I'll be honest, it was a little bit frustrating, but speaking with the developer, he seems interested in remedying that by adding a progress bar showing and indicating how much is left of the world and how fast it's crumbling. And once it reaches 0, you know that there's no disappearing tiles left, and all you have left is the story tile. I think that'd be a great quality of life. So now that you know everything about the overworld and the underworld, let's go ahead and talk about combat, gameplay, and how that all feels. The gameplay does play 1,000 times better on controller. Me personally, I have been using keyboard and mouse for the past year. I haven't used controller much, and I'm not against using it. But going into the game, I went keyboard and mouse first, and it felt really bad. I do know that this will be improved over time, as the developer is very receptive to this. I just want to explain to you up front, if you don't have a gamepad, I think you should know what the keyboard and mouse controllers are. So on the keypad, you use WASD to move, which is entirely fine. Where it gets weird, though, is you use X to attack and then Z to block. So you can kind of envision that if you put your fingers on the keyboard and feel how kind of awkward that feels. The other option you can do is your WASD movement and then use the right Alt button to attack and the 0 button to block. So in that sense, it kind of feels like you're at one of those old arcades, you know, where it has like the red buttons for attack and block and then your movement kind of buttons, which, you know, sounds cool, but I would like to be able to attack and block with my mouse like a normal ARPG. Personal preference. So what I did was I tweeted at the developer and asked about this. He's looking into it and suggested I try remote. So that's what I did. I bust out the old 360 controller, wired it up to the PC, and tried it out. And it feels a lot better on controller, and that's why I'm making the video, because I had a hell of a lot of fun with this game tonight. So now that we've kind of got the complaining out of the way, let's talk about the actual feel of the combat and how it plays out. So once you finally have decided to cave and get the controller out to play the game, you'll definitely notice a big difference. So you have your normal movement with your stick, and then you have block and attack that I mentioned. So it is a little bit strategic, and it's almost in the vein of Dark Souls. And I don't mean by difficulty or anything like that. I just mean the combat itself, how you have to time your blocks and your attacks. You need to know when to pull back and pull out that shield to block an arrow or a spell or a melee attack from a foe. And then you also need to know when to use your attacks. Now, if you go ham with your attacks, you're going to get parried and hit and then stunned and probably die after so many hits. So the combat itself feels definitely nice. It could use a little bit of tweaks and balancing from my perspective. And along with combat is killing enemies, and then, as I mentioned, the barrels and picking up those boons. But I want to talk about killing enemies and gaining XP. You can actually level up in this game. And what's really cool is when you die or go to a new level, it autosaves. So what this means is you can farm as much XP as you want, and if you die, you don't lose any of it, you keep all of it. This may change as the game is in beta and will be going into early access that we talked about. But overall, it's definitely interesting. Upon leveling up your character, you then have stats that you can assign to your character. And here's the stats that you can then put in. You have life, stamina, attack, defense, and then those are all you can really put in with your points. From my understanding, defense is definitely better than life. Stamina is kind of lackluster. I really never ran out of stamina, but attack and defense are going to be your top priority stats. But anyway, you know, it's in beta, early access, so really there's a lot there, kind of. There's 4 attributes that you can do. That's all you can do when you level up. You'll also notice that you have special abilities. These, I confirmed, are not unlocked through leveling up, which is a little bit strange to me, but that's okay. They're actually unlocked from killing bosses in the game. So now that you know everything about the game, the characters, the price, the release, that there's a free demo, what the game is like and what it's about, kind of how the levels are set up, and that there's story tiles. So it is randomized to a degree, but you can still find the tiles that you would find in every run to be able to progress the story. You also know about the combat and all that good stuff. The last thing I want to comment on is the difficulties. Currently in the demo, there is easy, normal, hardcore. They're actually misnamed. The developer has said that he's going to be changing the names. Easy is supposed to be normal, and then normal is supposed to be hard, and then hardcore is your permadeath mode, I would assume. I've been too chicken to try it, I'm not going to lie. The game is quite the challenge. Just some final thoughts on the game. And this is honestly just me coming at you here. The game is very early. When the game comes out, like I said, it's going to be on sale for $10. If you have 10 extra bucks laying around and want to support an indie developer that seems committed to his project, I definitely would recommend it. Just know that the game is early and you're probably not going to get a ton of time out of this, and it's quite a challenging game. At least for me personally, you're probably more skilled than me and can just cakewalk through the content. Good for you. I'm just telling you about my experiences. I'm definitely excited to check out the game and follow it through its early access stage. The demo, like I said, it feels very early, guys. It's a beta. It's a beta demo. There's definitely bugs, things that need to be worked on and ironed out, but I think they'll come with time. Time's going to tell how quick the updates will be and how often and how soon we'll see a full release. things that you really expect with any early access indie solo dev game, right? Also, the last thing I want to note is the progression seems interesting, and I've been doing some thinking about what makes me keep playing the game, and it's honestly to see what's around the next corner. There's a lot of exploration and things you can find, bosses, trinkets, boons, all that stuff. I like to see what's going to happen, what the story is going to play out, and I know that once I beat the game once, I'm probably not going to go back and play it. There's not going to be a ton of replayability, but that's just my opinion. Things can change with the early access and development of the game. With that, that's everything I wanted to tell you about Crumbling World, coming out on May 21st on Steam. Let me know down in the comments, is this a game that you're interested in? Are you going to check it out? Or are you going to wait and let it cook even longer? I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. And don't forget, there's a free demo if you want to go check it out for a little bit and see what the game's all about. If you enjoyed this video and all the other content, please do like and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.